Why don't we move on here to our last topic here? So my guest on the line here is Dr. Jay Lee, who is FamilyDocWonk on Twitter, and we're going to end up by talking about probably about the topic that we're most excited about that kind of started off this whole 10-day trip was in Kansas City, the National Conference of Special Constituencies, of which you're going to be running the deal next year. You're going to be the chair, what they call the term is convener of the entire meeting. So I would guess this year you had a different type of look to or different type of point of view this year because you're going to be on the inside of it next year. Maybe just start out just with some general comments on how you thought the meeting went, not only from a policy standpoint, but from a networking standpoint. And we'll also talk about the social media piece a little bit later as well.
Sure. Yeah, the meeting in general was definitely like it is every year, which is actually a really, really good thing in the sense that there were improvements in sort of our workflows and our processes relative to the year before. We had strong attendance. Many states brought full delegations. There was a lot of energy. There was a nice mix of folks who've been there a few years and those who were first-timers. And in general, there was just a spirit of camaraderie and a belief that we could make some changes in the system. So that was beautiful. The thing that was different for me this year, as you mentioned, was that I needed to take notes in terms of figuring out the mechanics of how the meeting happens, et cetera. And thankfully, the staff at the American Academy of Family Physicians, including Callie Castro and the rest of her crew that run this meeting, are outstanding and very receptive to tweaking the meeting at the margins so that we can provide a better product from year to year. This year was phenomenal. We had time allotted for business through 3 o'clock on Saturday, which is the last day of the meeting, and we actually got done by 10:30 thanks to the very efficient work of this year's convener, Dr. Lillian Wu from Washington. So she raised the bar very high for me, and I'm already getting highs thinking about it. Because she did raise that bar quite high.
Yeah, and I did see on Twitter that just this weekend, I believe it was yesterday, that she was elected vice speaker of the Washington Academy. I believe I got that information right. So she is definitely a star. But yeah, no pressure on you there, my friend.
Yeah, no, exactly. I'm not sweating at all.
Well, one of the unique things from this meeting, and I know that you and I talked about it last year, was the use of social media. There was maybe like you and me and maybe 3 other people using Twitter last year. But I'm curious from your point of view on site there, to kind of see this Twitter phenomenon just explode and get viral or have everybody using it. Did you get a sense? How did you get a sense on site of people, more people signing up for it? And the last part is, especially board members from the American Academy of Family Physicians. How did you see that, or how did you hear of that happening on site?
So, unlike years past, the Wi-Fi was imminently more available. Meaning, every year that I've gone, it started with plug-in internet to Wi-Fi in your room, to Wi-Fi in the lobby, to some Wi-Fi in the hallway, to
right,
to Wi-Fi everywhere. I know that AAFP does bring a lot of business to this particular hotel where we had it, and so they've been very accommodating. Thanks to the folks at the Hyatt for fixing some of the technical problems. Because last year, Wi-Fi, and to use a Twitter meme, was epic fail last year because it just didn't work in certain spots. But this year it worked beautifully. And I think that really facilitated or catalyzed people to use it. one of the things was the students, the medical students who were at this meeting were really driving some of this behavior change among some of the docs, because they were so active. And then when people saw what they were posting, making the meeting very transparent and I think accessible for people who are not there, I think that's when we started to see that tipping point. And fortunately, we have several board members who are very aware of technology and its use. And thinking in particular of Glenn Stream and of Reed Blackwelder and Glenn's wife, Ann Montgomery. They really embraced it and started to do it. And then you started to see the rest of the board start to join. So, and that's sort of what social media is about, right? It's about people seeing value in it and then joining it and then learning how to use it. And I think my understanding of Twitter was much less mature a year ago at NCSC, and it's much more. I understand it better, and I understand how to use it better now that I've been involved with Twitter almost 2 years now. So it's fun, and I think it also helps get the message out, not only to other family docs but also to the general public.
Absolutely, and even though I was here, hundreds of miles away, I still felt connected with the meeting. I still felt like I was making comments, and people sometimes commenting back or retweeting. I think that's one of the things that I hope the Academy and people that plan meetings kind of see, that you have potentially a lot more people being involved in the meeting and not necessarily being on site. And I think just these past 10 days at these different meetings at different sites in different states in different time zones has really made that a good example. And as we move forward, as we cover a lot of these other meetings, I really hope that the family medicine community sees that and grasps that. And I'm seeing as an outsider that I am seeing that some of these family physician champions in social media are spreading all around, and I'm really kind of seeing something happening out there as far as family medicine and social media, and I'm very excited about it.
Me too, and I think that it's one thing to have a message. It's another thing to share it with your friends or your contacts, and it's an entirely different thing when that message gets amplified in the way that Twitter can, especially Twitter. I think more so than Facebook. But it's important for us to be out there. And I think it's part of our ethos to feel connected to others, and this medium really allows us to do that, even if geography is an issue. And certainly, I've learned so much from people posting articles and from having viewpoints that are different from mine, and also viewpoints that are similar to mine. Because it just allows for communication and for dialogue. For example, the tweet chats that are done. I've learned a tremendous amount just by following threads, since they're usually timed during dinner time on the West Coast. But I'm able to sort of dissect it and read it and take a look at it and get a sense of where things are going in terms of people's thinking.
And my last question, because I know you have to go, what's the potential that you see as far as family docs, family medicine using social media to communicate our story to everyone else, to our patients, to payers, to legislators, to anybody who needs to hear the story of family medicine?
Right. So I'll tie two seemingly disparate ideas together into one. So have you read the book Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card?
No, but I will make a note of it.
Okay. So it's a science fiction book, which describes a world in the future where there's an alien race coming to destroy Earth. like that's never written about in science fiction books. It's fascinating because Ender is the main protagonist in the book, and I won't go too much into the details, but he has two siblings who are older than him and who essentially are using a medium very similar to Twitter or to blogging. And mind you, this book was written in the late 70s, I believe, to influence politics and policymaking in the world about what to do with this alien race, and how to combat and what resources to put where, etc. And when I think about that book, and I think about those two particular characters, his siblings, and their ability to sort of change ideas using a medium very similar to social media, I really see the potential in what we can do in terms of being out on the forefront with regards to describing who we are and ascribing the value that we bring to healthcare in a very public way so that people understand it, and really get to a point where we have other political partners that allow us to affect change at a policy level. Because in many ways, if we're not affecting policy change, we're just spinning our wheels. We'll just be those whiners, because that's not, whining is not real change. So I think we're going to get there. This is the beginning, and I think that by partnering with our patients, which is really what we do best anyway, but utilizing that skill, I think we'll be able to get to that point where we really do have a family medicine revolution in U.S. healthcare. Moving away from this volume-based, expensive care, often with little value, to more value-based care that's focused on getting the patient taken care of and helping communities improve, and really changing the vector that we're in terms of our approach to delivering healthcare services in this country.
Dr. Jay Lee, he is FamilyDocWonk on Twitter, the 2012 conference convener for the AFP NCSC meeting. Also, check out FamilyMedicineRevolution.org, and I think you just made a new T-shirt, No Whiners or No Whining. I definitely support that. Thank you so much for the time, sir. I know we'll be talking down the road. I'll see you on Twitter, and if you need any help, any assistance, especially with that convener thing, I know a little bit about that. Just let me know. But I don't think you'll need much help because you're gonna do a great job. You have a great staff working with you. But thank you so much for the time for coming back on the show, sir.
I really appreciate the opportunity, Mike, and I know that I take great pride in seeing a good friend making such an impact on the world, and you definitely inspire us all, and please keep up what you're doing because it's really important.